Welcome to Wedding Mayhem.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Very croaky on the couch here today.
Of all the days.
I don't. I think we've just all been ill. Following my episode last week, I awful. I went home and slept for like a couple of hours. I was so tired. But everybody's been messaging me, and Alex that we had on last week messaged me going, everything you said resonated with me so much. Everybody in our industry are on their knees, aren't they?
Yeah.
And but yes, apologies for my beige food post.
Oh yeah. What was that?
It was I'm not saying what brand.
Pie?
I'm not saying what it was. I don't know what brand it was, but John's been away. But we're both working 24/7, so we're like ships that pass on the night at the moment. And normally he'll cook. Whoever's home first will cook, and that's normally me. But obviously I've been doing late, so he's been cooking. And this is one night that he was out having. He was out for dinner, and I literally picked up a quick. Like put in the microwave thing, and you can put it in the oven, but it was a shepherd's pie, so it wasn't brown on the top. And so I emptied up my plate, and it literally went.
It was like slop.
It was just like slop, and I just looked at it.
Very pale.
I cried. I was like, oh, yeah. It tastes brilliant.
Did it?
Bit of brown sauce, some white pepper. Do you like brown sauce?
Love brown
Not many
sauce.
people like brown sauce.
Love brown sauce.
So. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm in the thick of tonsillitis, and I've got a nice bit of honey and lemon, and this episode's going to break my heart. It's going to be torture. I can only have like hot liquids or soup at the minute. I can't swallow anything, and we're talking about lovely food. This is like torture for me to not.
Yeah, but it's right up my street.
I know. So Sharon's going to get it all. Honestly, I just live life through you.
Should we introduce our guest?
Yep, off you go.
Here we go. Right, we have Chris from the Cutting Edge Limited.
Morning, how are you doing?
Did I get that right?
Cutting Edge Food Limited, but we'll do that.
That's the important part.
Oh,
there.
yes. Oh, every time.
That's
honestly.
fun.
And I know you as well. That's even worse. You know, welcome to the little sofa.
Thank you very much for having me.
He knows
That's
you
all
wants
right.
to come on.
I know, yeah. So we actually do know each other. Well, very briefly do we know each other.
We have met before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have met each other before. So your auntie is the lady that saved me and my bees by giving us a bit of her land.
Do you like bees?
I like bees. I like honey more than I like bees.
Yeah.
And I've just extracted. She's had the first pot yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, we might have to pop round on the way home.
Oh, might you? And I don't think she's going to give
Is
it
that
yet.
where you get your honey from?
Yeah. So yeah, she had the first pot. Yeah, so yeah, she has had the first unfiltered bit, but which is the
How
best.
did it go? Is it good?
Yeah, and weirdly enough, because obviously it was on a different place, so obviously we relocated to her field, where obviously you've got straw.
Yeah.
And you can taste the straw
Coming through the honey.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's delicious.
Wow.
And home honey is completely different. It's really floral, and they're feeding off the pub garden because they've literally put flowers everywhere.
A Guinness in them.
The dreads.
and the stable honey is really thick and dark.
Yeah.
And so they must be feeding off the horse poo.
Very tasty
But
stuff.
it's really, it's really old, meaty honey.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
But like hot honey's like in everything now.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
become like a
Drizzled
thing.
over everything. On goat's
But
cheese.
please don't heat the honey up. It's driving me
People are putting it
mad.
on pizza because I
That's
don't
fine.
like honey.
Oh, really?
But
Chicken
I'm
wings.
thinking
Yeah.
That's
think
fine.
I
Drizzle
would
it
really
everywhere.
like
Don't heat
drizzled.
it up. Yeah.
What did I put
Oh, no,
on?
hot honey.
Parsnips.
Did you put it on your parsnips?
Yeah, and I made a mistake though. I done them in the air fryer. Then I put loads of honey on top. Oh my god! By the time the parsnips have cooked, I've took the thing out, lifted the lid, and it's just thick.
At the bottom, yeah.
I couldn't get it off, and then it literally got stuck to my nails, and then it pulled my dishmatic off the head.
Did you not put parsnip in the bottom?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
well, there we are.
Yeah. So yeah.
So let's talk to the expert.
Well, maybe not about air fryers, but
Yeah. I haven't got one. Do
you rate them or?
I haven't got one. I don't
are
think
you
I've really
against
used
them?
it. No, definitely not against them.
Oh, okay.
But we haven't got them today. But some of the canapés we do are deep fat fry, and that's the only way I think.
Right. Okay.
And also the volume that we're putting through. Maybe for home it might work, but I think on a sort of commercial, it's not going to happen.
Especially me with my one little tray.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about how you started.
Yeah.
What are you first?
So I would describe myself or us as a sort of a small independent caterer, wedding caterer, that, you know, we started off doing sort of dinner parties and things like that, and eventually evolved, and that's how things came about. But yeah, small independent sort of wedding caterer.
Perfect. How did you start? What's your background?
Washing up, like many people.
Really?
KP, pot washing. Went through the sort of the local pubs, and then sort of progressed through the kitchens. Went to uni, studied hospitality.
Did you always know that you wanted to cook?
Yeah, I always felt like I was a bit of a, you know, dab hand in the kitchen.
Were you?
Yeah, and I think it was at that time when.
We should ask Dad. Actually, Dad's over there. Was he any good at cooking when he was little?
He often wanted to cook.
Never
Never have your parents in the studio, I tell
Come
you.
from anyone, your cooking skills?
Well, I'm not going to say that.
No, okay.
No. But it was at that time when I think like Jamie Oliver was like coming onto the TV,
Yes,
and I was probably
with the
I don't
long hair.
Yeah, 12, 13, and you were sort of like looking up to those sorts of, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think cookery had been sort of cool on TV. I'm not too
No,
sure.
no.
That sort of vibe.
Well, before
So,
then, you had sort of Delia Smith and
Keith
you know,
Floyd, who was
Keith.
just on the wines.
Oh, I love Keith Floyd though. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, there was all of those. It was probably maybe a little bit more, serious, not quite so cool, and just used to sort of think that's what it was going to be. So yeah, went through the pubs, started at the bottom, worked my way up.
Is that important?
I think massively, because ultimately I haven't got. I don't know if I should say this. I've got no cooking, you know, certificates or anything like that. Everything that I've done, I've always learnt on the job.
Yeah.
And
think that's
ultimately,
the
I
think
think you
you
can
should.
take
I think
more.
you should be proud to say
Yeah,
that.
I think ultimately you can take more away from the people that
Yeah.
are teaching you on the job than you can
Yeah.
from going into one kitchen, you know, once or twice a week. So
yeah.
it's been a really important part for me, I think.
Yeah, well, you know how it all operates, and I think
Yeah,
you
that's
have your own business. When you
Yeah.
have your own business, you are not at the top. You
No,
know, I
no.
mean, yesterday I was literally scrubbing the toilet.
Exactly
You
that.
know,
Yeah, you're
so
every
you're
every
welcome.
aspect of it.
It looked. I was so excited when I left. It looked great.
Happy to go back in
You'll
tomorrow.
ruin it tomorrow. I know. Yeah, exactly.
Ruin it. I think I am.
So you went to university?
Yeah, I went to
from there?
university and did a hospitality degree.
Okay.
And I think that has probably also put me in sort of stead of the business sort of side of things a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was really lucky that I could set up the sort of the dining experiences that I was trying to do when I was still working alongside my old chef job.
Oh,
So
right,
I had a really good rapport with my old head chef, and he would sort of like let me go off on Saturday nights, go and do those sort of events. And eventually that just sort of snowballed and became more and more popular, to the point where I was sort of doing that and then stepping back into the kitchen to sort of help them out on, you know, Christmas parties and those sort of bigger occasions. So yeah, and eventually, you know, just had to sort of make the leap and say, where are we going to go? So yeah.
It's heart and mouth time, isn't
Oh,
it? When you do
massively,
it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And it's a huge unknown from going from being salaried and, you know, it doesn't matter whether the pubs are busy or they're not, to then thinking, right, I've got to go and find the work and I've got to make it happen.
Yeah, and I say it, finding the work and finding the right work too.
Yeah, definitely. And at that, in those early stages, I think you just find yourself sort of saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
And in a way it's good because it helps you
Because
build up the experience.
you're learning.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. And it doesn't matter, you know, I think if you're not making loads of money, but you are gaining the experience and you're building the confidence of going into people's houses and, you know, open kitchens, you're cooking in front of them and serving it for them. There's no you know, there's no hiding behind the kitchen door like there is in other sort of
you're not buying
chef
stuff
things.
and heating it up. And
No, that's
stuff
it.
like
You've
that,
got to,
you know.
you're
do
there.
people do that?
What, buy it and heat it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course
I
they do.
am hearing lots of that.
But I think that's where the different price points and the, you know, you can tell, I think a lot of what we do with the sort of the tastings and things like that, people just know from straight away.
Yeah.
And coming from a chef background, I think the last thing I'm going to be doing is opening up you know, a quiche or something like that, and then just putting it on the table. It takes away the chef aspect.
We went on a family holiday years ago when I was a teenager to Marbella, and we were looking for like somewhere to eat, and we found like this little Indian restaurant, but it was like right by the beach, but it was like tiny. And like we walked in and there was just a guy just doing a crossword, and we were like, "Oh, sorry, you closed." He was like, "No, we're open. Take a seat." And we were like, "Shit, we're stuck here now." And as we were ordering, literally, we'd hear him go off, and then you'd hear ding, and then he'd go rice, and then he'd go tikka come in, and then you'd hear ding. And we were like, the only ones in there, and we were all just like, pray we don't get ill. It was so funny. It became like a joke. All we could hear was the dinging constantly. My dad's going, "There's the nance."
It's a nance. I think the reason why we do this is to help couples plan their wedding and pick the right suppliers. Because they might be oblivious to that sort of thing. There's nothing wrong with the heating up and that, but passing it off as your own.
And I think that again, that's a key thing to, once we start having the initial sort of emails, and then when I've had a phone call with people, I think that they then probably get that vibe of where we're coming from and the service we offer and the sort of the level of service that we offer, compared to maybe going to other caterers that it's either set menu A, set menu B, or set menu C.
Right, okay.
We have example menus.
I was going to say, what services do you offer?
Yeah, is it just canapés?
No, we offer a full package. From the moment that you either walk in from the church or from the ceremony, the canapé reception, the full sort of wedding breakfast, depending on how that wants to be, either sort of feasting menus, plated, or to gourmet hog roasts and things like that, and the evening fee. So try and fill in the gaps and things like that. Because when we got married, it was these are the menus, and you've got to choose 1, 2, or 3, and what is it? And I think
it was either fish, chicken, or beef, isn't it?
Chicken or beef.
Chicken shasta. I will turn down a wedding invitation if I get extra shasta. Do they still serve it?
I don't know. Do they?
Still offer out now. I'm like,
But we haven't got. I have example menus because you've got to get the ball rolling with something. I can't just say, tell me what you want, because not everybody's foodies. So by showing them past menus and example menus, then they can sort of get a bit of a vibe of what we might offer. And not everybody likes, I don't know, barbecued sirloin steaks with chimichurri, but they might say, we like the sirloin steak, but can we have it with like a confit garlic butter or something like that? But at least that's got the idea in their head of the sort of things that we can do.
How do you deal with people that are not foodies and just really don't have a Scooby?
Sometimes they are easier because you can just guide them into this is what you want.
Should they know about what their guests like on a whole?
I would say trying to cater for all of your guests is probably going to be one of your biggest headaches. Yeah. Because ultimately it is their menu, and I think it should represent yourselves. Even if you're not huge foodies, but you've been on holiday and you love Italy or you got engaged somewhere, I think that's just a little bit that's marks a stamp on your food sort of likes and dislikes. Yeah. But don't go into it thinking, oh, we can't do that because Auntie Jane doesn't like that and all those sorts of things, because you go around in a spiral. It's kind
of got to reflect you as well. Like, I know for a fact, without it being trashy, like me and John are obsessed with pizza. Like, love it. I love pasta. John loves pizza.
It's a cheap wedding, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd have to be like some form of nod.
I'll supply the honey.
That's us. Do you know what I mean? There would have to be some kind of nod to it.
Yeah,
I think like vegans and vegetarians. If the reason why they are, that is basically, because they. Animals, they don't, I don't know what I'm saying now, but
for the whole just a giraffe.
No. But if they don't want meat at their wedding, then
and we've done full vegan weddings where all of the canapés, the main course, and the desserts have all been vegan. And from when I first started working in the kitchens years ago, the products that are available now are completely different to what they were, and it's far easier for us to be creative and. It doesn't need to be, smoked tofu salad or something like that. We can be really creative. The canapés are pretty easy to sort of either swap in or to replicate, because all of the non-dairy products are so much better than they used to be. So much better.
And I think people, when they get an invitation, go, oh, it's a vegan wedding.
Yeah.
But
they didn't even put it on the menu.
Yeah.
They just let people slowly find out throughout the day that actually
none of this is meat, and it's fantastic to do that, because you're educating people that it's not you're not regimented just to these things that you can have.
And I think even when you're sort of planning your menus, let's say that you do want it as a big feasting table with sort of sirloins and salmon on there for the table.
How do these feasting tables work?
So we basically normally the best way for it to work is on long trestle tables, like big long banqueting tables.
So it's like a grazing table.
Exactly like that.
Yeah,
exactly, because from our point of view, it's great because we can get lots of food out quite quickly.
It looks amazing on tables.
And we don't need a huge, for the infrastructure of the venue, we don't need a huge space to be plating out lots and lots and lots of individual plates. So then we run scaffold boards down the middle of the tables on little risers.
Yeah.
So rather than trying to fit in, a platter next to you and your wine glass and the knife and fork, everything's in the middle, and then people can just pick it up, help themselves, pass it around, and then it goes back into the centre of the table.
That's so cool.
And rather than using huge, big dishes that I think sometimes look a bit daunting, we put smaller plates out and then just replenish them from the kitchen.
Yeah.
So that it's basically like a rolling sort of service for each sort of group of people.
That's so cool.
Fantastic.
And that's definitely where the sort of the trend is at the moment.
Yeah,
that sort of
definitely.
thing. Yeah.
I think people want more of a relaxed vibe.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's a good icebreaker. People naturally want to sort of talk over food and things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've just got your
Do you hear the conversations going when you're there?
The venues are always noisier when you've got those sharing platters.
Yeah.
And there's less food waste as well. Because
Right, okay.
if you've been put a plate down in front of you and you don't like tomato and you don't like burrata, that's all there is. But if along the feasting table there's going to be something that everybody likes a bit of,
pile up,
that's it. So it works.
Well, that's it. Your eyes are definitely bigger than your belly. All day buffet. I love a buffet.
What do you think's like your most popular main dish? What's do you think I'll love that one again?
Shoulders of lamb, slow cooked or barbecued shoulders of lamb.
It's my favourite.
Yeah, I think out of all of the sort of the proteins is the one that is most popular.
Really, the lamb.
Yeah, but.
Because I think lamb's special when you're at home for roast and that. We've talked about this with friends and that. When I go out, if I've got the option of lamb, I'm having lamb or beef. Because at home I'll have chicken or I'll have pork because they're cheaper cuts.
Yeah.
So I would never normally have roast chicken out because it's
you can do it at home.
At home. Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that we sort of tried steering people with is to maybe have the lamb and some chicken. Because if you send out your wedding invites and it's not a choice menu, you normally just say, are you meat or are you veggie?
Right.
But there's quite a few people that are meat eaters but don't like lamb.
Yes. My mum's a bit like that.
Yeah,
my husband's like that.
Yeah, so they get, so it comes down to the table and they're like, oh, I don't really like lamb. I wish I'd gone for the veggie option. So by then just having some chicken on, a separate platter, it means that those people that don't necessarily like it have still got something to eat rather than just having.
And feeding people is really important at weddings,
massively.
And I always, because if you don't feed them well, they're going to leave.
Yeah.
They're going to get drunk too quickly and will have to leave. And we've heard it in our industry and we've had it in our questions from the public where, they've seen people order in Deliveroo.
Really? Yeah.
Pizza. They've eaten their pizza.
Not if there's a hog roast.
Sort of thing. So it's important. You know.
Definitely.
What is the tasting process with you?
So we have got a tasting room.
Because that's the most I say to girls when they, when they come to the shop. They're like really stressed. I said, do you wait till you get to the tasting and stuff, and then they go, I say tasting. There's some venues don't do tasting.
No, some people
really
don't.
shocked.
And I think for me, because we haven't got those set menus, the tasting bit is the most important bit to get that menu right. So we normally, by the time we've gone through emails and phone calls, we've got the sort of menu, I would say, pretty much nailed to what they want throughout the day. If we're going to say 6 canapes, but there's 8 that they want to try, and then we knock 2 off, then that's absolutely fine. And then I normally have one of the front of house sort of supervisors there on the night as well, so that then normally they can see the menu for the first time. I cook next door.
Right, so where is this taking
So we're
place?
in Dunsfold, just south of Guildford.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a sort of prep kitchen, tasting room and a warehouse all in a big sort of setup
fantastic.
there. Which is absolutely ideal.
Yeah.
And then it means that they can come down for their sort of evening meal and treat it a bit like that.
Yeah, date night.
Date night, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're like, actually, and then I try
out.
getting them to bring either their parents or the best man and the bridesmaid.
Yeah, we were allowed to bring 2 other people.
Yeah, because it also means that you haven't got that tunnel vision of you've been through all that planning.
That's
and
nice.
you know what
I
it
didn't know you
is.
could do that, bring extras.
Yeah.
Extras.
I like that.
Yeah, it was nice actually because it's like a little dress rehearsal sort of thing.
Yeah, and you get somebody else's opinion. We normally put a bottle of cremant on the table, go through all the canapes, send all the main courses out, and then I sit down with them and then we just rip the menu apart. Go through all the bits they love, the bits that they wanted to tweak a little bit.
It's a bit like MasterChef, isn't it? I love it, yeah.
And then we're really lucky that we've got all of these sort of hireware items in our tasting room as well.
Yeah.
So it means that we can say, right, this dish is going to look really nice on this plate.
Yeah.
This is going to look good with this, and then
Yeah.
we can start to build up a bit.
So
of a
you
table
supply
scape.
all.
Presentation's key, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. It really
Isn't
is. Yeah. So we work with a couple of different hire companies. These items are all from a company called Crystal Hire, and it really just shows that it doesn't need to be white plates and traditional glass crockery.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So
Very cool.
you can really build up, especially for the feasting sort of menus where people might not have been into the venue because they've been having the canapes outside. That first impression of what those tables look like, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
So by building up the sort of the colours, the textures of the plates, really sort of adds something to the
Well,
room.
again, you're taking people out of their comfort zone because they might be just thinking, oh yeah, I want just cool linen and plain and plain and plain. But actually, by mixing the colours.
Yeah, really builds
chic.
the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Is this what's in at the moment?
So these call these Harlequin glasses. So the stemmed and the goblets is definitely where the sort of trend is.
Yeah.
So rustic trestle tables, maybe with like a Hessian sort of runner down the middle.
Yeah. I love Hessian.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the middle of cutting it for my bees at the moment, getting them ready for winter.
Tuck them in.
Love a bit of Hessian.
But this is
I love
this
a
is definitely
goblet.
where it is. Yeah.
I do. I think they're so cool.
But yeah, water. So rather than having a traditional water glass,
Yeah.
so wine glass flute, and then one of these either as
Yeah.
the goblet or as the sort of the
I think
tumbler.
something like this makes people a bit more relaxed
Yeah,
and homely. If they're
definitely,
in
yeah.
like a real posh sort of fluty
Yeah.
sort of thing, they're all a bit like, oh,
Yeah,
God,
less
it's a bit,
formal.
you know.
Yeah, I always hit a
Precious.
tooth or end of my nose on the flutes. I'm always like, like, so goblet's fine for me.
And also on those rustic trestle tables, like the wood is never level because they're all most of
Yeah.
them are all handmade. So putting a really nice flute on there just means that the whole thing's flapping around. Yeah, you don't want that. So a nice
Yeah.
heavy stem goblet definitely is a better option.
Perfect. Where are we on pricing?
So for the sort of full wedding package, we start at about £75 a head, and go up to.
But what does £75?
So
Because I know from a reliable source
Yeah.
that you're an overfeeder. She's still trying to get rid of the food.
She is. So £75 a head gets you literally from the tasting
Yeah.
to the canapé reception, all of your staff, the hireware, everything up until the end of the meal, normally at the end of dessert. So tea and coffee.
That's
and
like
then
ridiculously reasonable, by the way.
Very good, because I think people don't actually budget for staff.
Yeah.
They're just
You
thinking
get that
food.
Wait, you can have that, but it would literally be as basic, and you wouldn't get canapes in that. When I've been looking.
Well, and there are other caterers out there that don't offer staff. They come in and they cook and then they outsource and things like that.
Right.
And same with the evening food. Whereas we've got one of those vintage street food trucks. We supply all of the
you've got a
bars.
truck?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we've been talking about the truck all week, haven't we?
What's served in the truck? Tell me.
Because this is where you
canvas.
started, wasn't
Yeah,
it? This
so
is your foundation.
Yeah,
level.
so we started doing the street food sort of style of things before we started doing the sit down weddings. So Lebanese flatbread wraps, burritos, burgers, all of those sorts of evening food things. There was not pizza. Because you got to have a pizza
You
oven in
hungry?
there. Yeah, just
Pizzas, they're so cool.
and that's been really good, and it's been
Yeah.
that's been a foot in the door to sort of many places.
Yeah.
It makes you versatile, I think,
yeah, it
as well,
does.
doesn't it?
And again, using myself as a reference, when we got married, we were going all these different suppliers,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, right, so you've got to make time to meet them, you've got to make time, and you've got to, all these sort of things. Whereas by hopefully us trying to do as much of it in-house,
Yeah.
means that I haven't got to worry about the other suppliers and
Yeah.
are they going to turn up? What is it that they're actually offering? And those sorts of things.
Trust me, 8 weeks before your wedding, you are on your own because all the people that said they were going to help you are not helping you anymore. And you are contacting so many people. Your phone is blowing up, and you will miss something.
Yeah.
So to have it
to
more
go in,
compacted, I
that's
think
it.
is a real...
Yeah, and hopefully it takes a little bit of the stress away from the couple.
Yeah.
As much as like it does. Ultimately, I think it's because we were getting frustrated with working with some other suppliers that were saying that this was going to happen at this time and things like that.
Yeah.
So we've now taken in pretty much to do the bars in house as well.
Oh gosh, right, okay.
Yeah, so we're doing this year. We've just
Gonna have to get you back to do the cocktails then.
Yes, we've just started doing draft cocktails.
Folks not too sore for that.
Hold on. Draft cocktails.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so on tap. So espresso martinis on tap.
Oh my
And
god.
all of those.
And do they taste as
They
good?
taste as good. You would never know. So if I come back, I'll do a blind taste test with you.
Yes!
Because everybody wants a cocktail hour.
Yes.
So to do 120 espresso martinis,
yes,
to put them out and not let them go cold.
Well, people want these walls as well with them, you know.
So we do draft beers and draft lagers and things like that. So we've now invested in the next sort of bit is to do the draft cocktails.
Is there certain cocktails that you can't put on draft?
No, not that I've seen. No.
Not that I've tasted.
Strawberry daiquiri is incredible. Spicy margarita, incredible.
Yeah.
If things like,
I think if you know what you're obviously making it prior.
It comes kegged.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
because it is controversial, isn't it?
Oh, massively.
On tap and in cans as well.
Yeah, so we went and taste tested through some different suppliers, and eventually settled with, they're called Liberation cocktails.
Is this where your bar stuff comes in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, some of them, you can just taste like the sweetness and the sort of the flavourings that are in the cocktails rather than the natural ingredients.
Right.
But these guys only use the natural ingredients, batch it, keg it, and then ship it out.
Fantastic.
So it's really good.
The spicy I've never had a margarita.
I've not had a spicy one.
It's got jalapenos through it.
Has it? Oh no, I might like that.
I've had a spicy wine.
Spicy wine.
Yeah,
they call that mulled wine.
No,
don't they call it mulled wine?
Yeah. In the summer, we went to that house with the swimming pool with all the kids.
Yeah.
So she, one of the girls. So Emily from Clark, her sister had the wine and she was putting jalapenos in it and actually tasted really nice.
Oh my God.
I know, but all I could smell, but she just was having more and more wine and then putting more and more jalapenos into the point it was just terrible.
What's wrong with like cherries? They run out of cherries for jalapenos.
It's all I could smell.
So let's talk about this food.
Okay.
So this is just obviously a small selection of
so this is what I thought might work with sort of what we had here today. They're all colds and they are probably the sort of the classics because trying to upsell some of the more different canapes, you get to read the bride and groom, and if you think that's going to work with them, then you can sort of push those. But these are all the classics.
I like the mixture. I've been to quite a few sort of cocktail parties where they come round and you've just got one thing. And this is like a box of Quality Street.
It's like one on one thing, and then you have that, and then they come round with another.
And it's the next one.
I like this because it's like a box of Quality Streets. It's like, which one now,
are we going for? So sometimes if you're doing a wedding and you've got people with allergens and things like that, sometimes that's why they'll be boxed off so that there's no cross-contamination on the slates and things like that. So really careful with it. Whereas presentations like this, it means that you have got a little bit of variety.
I'm going to dive in if that's okay.
So shall I talk you through it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one here on your left.
You can't eat this.
I know. Well, one, obviously I've got the throat from hell, and two, I don't like fish. So I'm like, half of the plate I'm like, haha, and the other half I'm like, oh.
I know, and actually it's my fault because you text me asking any allergies and not a lot. So I'm like, no, we eat everything. Like, we're so busy. Got you about the fish. I've got John and the fish.
So this one is a date and ale chutney. So we've got a brewery in Dunsfold as well that we get our beers from, but then we also used to cook with. So we've got that with whipped goat's cheese on top. So
oh my God,
a lot of the time when you say to people about goat's cheese, they don't like it because of that goaty taste.
Yeah, I'd like goat's cheese.
So
I just literally can't swallow. Like razor blade. Literally living off like honey and soup at the minute. At least I'm here.
Yeah, you made it.
And what's this one?
Okay, and then this one is a smoked trout pate, and then it's got a little bit of beetroot and Dijon puree on the top.
Oh, I love Dijon.
So
it makes a change for me to get an eating.
Ask
them about pricing on doing this.
On the blinis, yeah.
No, it's not too fishy.
It's not too fishy. So the reason why we use
is it trout?
Smoked trout, yeah.
Trout very fishy.
No, trout's really mild.
It's meaty,
yeah. So we
Sorry, I'm like a detective for fish.
See how fishy it is.
I don't really. I've had it over my mouth as well. I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologise.
It is what it is in the title. I did tell you.
Right, yeah. So it's not very.
It's not massive fishy. It is more delicate. So and we hand cut it. So this is a smoked baba ganoush.
So you actually.
What's it?
You cut the fish.
Yeah.
The fish.
Yeah. So rather than making it like a mousse where you'd make it in the Maggi mix or something like that, and you sort of lose all those flavours, by hand cutting it, you keep the sort of the trout flavour going through and don't lose it.
Right.
So that's important then.
Yeah, really important. Yeah, because otherwise it's just a canapé that hasn't got the levels of flavour. And ultimately, I think that's what they need to have.
Oh my God. I remember that next time I'm gutting a fish.
Levels of flavour.
So what was in that? Because that was delicious.
So that one is a smoked baba ganoush. So we
What is a baba ganoush?
So we smoke aubergines, and then we let them go cold, and then sort of let them steam in themselves. And then it's a bit like making hummus. So you have tahini, garlic, lemon.
It tastes like garlic.
Cumin in there. But the tahini is quite bitter, so we then put pomegranate molasses on the top.
Yeah.
So you've got the sweet and the bitter, and then you've got the crunch
It's
of the
lovely.
pomegranate.
Absolutely lovely. Right, I'm going into this one
Right, and then you've got a...
I'm loving this. Get tonsillitis more. I never get literally a say in the food. It's literally...
And then for this one, you've got walnut, Stilton, and spinach sort of salad that's
really
in the
cute. I
pastry
don't know where you
cup.
guys can see it.
Oh, that is very cute.
So a bit lighter. So a lot of the canapés that are deep fat fried, the arancinis and the croquettes, they're great. But then in the summer, on a really hot summer's day, do you want to be eating loads of fried food? So and they are the ones that people naturally go towards. They, if you say, "Can you pick me 6 or 8?" That's what they choose.
Yeah.
So it's quite important to then try and find a balance of saying,
lovely.
actually, we want some colder options, we want something that's a little bit lighter.
And actually, Stilton will always say to me in my head, really strong, tangy, but that's that's lovely. Chuck me nuts everywhere.
And then this is the last one, which is sort of like a 2-bite canapé. So this is a...
Oh, I'm going to mess this up, aren't I?
Well, you can do it in one, but this is a Bloody Mary sort of like prawn cocktail, but it's got vodka in it. So it's...
Oh, okay.
She's like, oh no, I'll be fine now.
So
no, I'm on no alcohol at the moment.
Oh, really?
It was a marathon on Sunday, so it's like,
It's all right, I'll give you a red start.
Smell this one? Do you want to smell my mouth again?
That's my mouth.
So what is it? It's a Bloody Mary.
So it's basically rather than just doing a normal prawn cocktail Mary Rose sauce, it's got vodka going through it. So as you're eating it, you feel in the back of your mouth that you've got a little bit of a hit coming through once again.
Where do you source your food?
So we've got...
Because I saw this down here.
Yeah.
The camera can pick this up.
So I'm really lucky in that probably about 3-4 miles around the corner from us is Secrets, which is a wholesale fruit and veg, and then their farm shop and all those sorts of things. And one of the things that I think is really important is trying to get different colours out onto the plates. Yeah. So rather than just having your standard orange carrots, beetroot and all of those things, by using some of those sort of heritage varieties means that once the food comes out, it isn't just a carrot and sort of feta salad or something like that. It's something completely
Because you want to
different.
give something to somebody that they don't normally have at home.
Yeah, that's it. And again, even just by offering, they grow all of these baby leaves in their polytunnels there.
Wow.
So rather than just having a mixed leaf salad, you've got something that's got loads of different colours, and also it's got different flavours that are going through it.
Wish I'd known. I've got an allotment.
Oh, really?
I've got a marrow that is that big.
It's
growing. It's a competition at the moment to see if I can keep it going before the slugs get to it, and a trumpet courgette.
So yeah, so Secrets are fantastic. I still use my old high street fishmonger in Godalming.
Yeah.
So Michael does all of our fish, and then the same with the meat in Cranley from.
He comes to
Rawlins.
chop them.
Does he?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's fantastic, and it's nice to have. If I've forgotten to order something, I can text him at midnight, and he still gets it the next day because he's at market every morning.
Perfect.
So
it's all
really
fresh. It's all sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to a lot of people.
I think so, and definitely the way the sort of trends are going, people want to know. And even with the hog roast, we get them from the farm in Dunsfold.
Nip up to Auntie's farm.
Yeah, that's it.
If one of those goats is missing,
You'll know why.
if that ginger goat is missing, I'm coming down your place.
Me, I'll have it on a backpack.
Oh, he jump on your back. He's lovely. He's going to go missing, that little goat, I tell you. Oh, that's it.
So where we can, try and source everything as locally as possible. And the same with we've got Crafty Brewery around the corner from us, Hog's Back Brewery, which most people know of.
Yes.
Just sort of between here and home.
So do you supply the booze as well?
Yeah. So 9 times out of 10, the couple will want to supply the welcome drink and the table wine.
Right.
And that seems to be a sort of an industry sort of standard. But if they want,
so they can supply it.
So they can supply it, and then
that's
we just
really handy actually because they can. We had the affordable wine guy on, and he shows where to go for your cheese, so they can start buying.
Yeah, and also it means that they can go and do their own wine tastings like they're going to do the food tastings. And quite often we have people that bring in the wines that they think they're going to have for the wedding to the food tasting, so that then actually they can see if that pairing works.
What a good idea.
So that fantastic idea, and it means that by the time that we've finished with the foods, they have actually thought, right, this is the one that we're going to get, or we need to start again.
Because we learnt with Andy when he was on that, tasting wine on its own is then different than to what you've eaten. It changes the wine.
If you were eating that Stilton with different wines, they taste completely different.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think it's definitely a really important thing to do. But then for the evening bars, again, we can do it where the client either supplies all of the drink, and if they ask us to supply kegs of beer, I think one of the things that's really important is if you're having your sort of drinks reception, quite often people are walking around with cans and bottles, and then you get your photos developed and you think, I wish they weren't walking around with a can or thing. So even if we're doing draft, but it's in a like a nice highball or something,
or a goblet,
or in a goblet, it's still nice. It's still nicer than having a can in your photo. That's it. So
and this is it. You're spending a lot of money on this wedding and the aesthetics, and you get that one photograph that's your favourite photograph, and there's Uncle John in the back with like, hey,
So I think so we can supply. But we can also supply, if they said we only want Peroni and we want it on draft, then we can do that as well. So we try and fill in the gaps. But
Perfect. We didn't finish pricing.
Sorry.
So your first level is £75.
Yeah. So we sort of start at £75, and that.
And what does that give you?
That gives you we normally say 4 canapés and a starter, but to be honest, most people now are dropping the starter and going for more canapés. So if you're spending,
this is good for a low-key wedding.
Well, it's a good. It is. Yeah, it definitely is. But also, if you're spending lots of money on a venue and they've got beautiful walled gardens and a lake, do you want to be spending more time outside having canapés and having drinks, or do you want to be sat inside having the starter? So I think for certain venues, certain times of the year, it works better. By the time that you've had your photos and you've been whisked off for an hour, to then come back and say, you're going to come and sit down. You want to be spending time with your guests.
I think this also, we're entering autumn and winter, and I think this and indoors, with low lighting and candles everywhere, I think will work really, really well.
Yeah. So go back to the pricing. So we base it at £75 a head. Yeah. You get your canapés, you get your starter, you get your main course, you get your dessert, and then up to tea and coffee. So we try, and that includes all of your staff, your hire as the full package. And then once we sort of start doing the tasting, if you do want the lamb, if you do want the fillet of beef, if you do want the scallops, the steak tartare, we then start adapting the menu. So, we can try and help with the
versatile.
Definitely versatile. And
is that important?
I think it is, because let's say with the evening feeds, we could come with the food truck and you can spend £15 a head on the food truck. But
so you can do the food truck as well.
Yeah, so you can do the evening feeds as well, or fish and chips or bacon rolls or whatever they want.
But right up your alley.
Fish, come on, you don't know at all.
No, burger, a van,
Or halloumi and chips. But sometimes the evening feed is the bit that, I wouldn't say it's wasted, but I would say money can be spent better elsewhere sometimes. Okay. So I'm always sort of an advocate of getting the couple to supply the cheese, supply the crackers, and then we'll dress it and put it all out. So that you have got an evening option, but then you can have the canapés that you wanted, or you can have the free bar or whatever you wanted to do. So there's definitely ways of sort of helping or guiding people to sort of save money.
And we're in a climate now where people are like, I need to cut costs a little bit. So showing them different avenues. Yeah, and I think you can still have high end.
That's it, exactly.
But in a clever way.
And the seasonality of that is definitely one way of looking at it. Everybody's really busy from sort of April till end of September. Yeah. And the venues will charge different prices depending on those times. And if we've got nothing in the diary, then we're going to say we're going to try and do everything we can to work with that couple on the outsides of the sort of summer season. Yeah. And that's the same as the times of the week. I got married on a Monday.
I did Sunday
because it's £1,500, where it's £10,500 on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And my friends worked in hospitality, so Mondays off for them were fine. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely ways of thinking and guiding people.
I'll be coming to you for my Monday wedding.
Well, I think venues have cottoned on that. The Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and Monday now. Yeah, so getting midweek is.
But midweek is still definitely cheaper. So if you've got family that are travelling, if they're going to travel down for the weekend, they'll travel down, and take the Tuesday off. So,
Exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you don't charge for your tasting, so
We only charge for the tasting if they don't book with us.
fine. Okay, well,
Which
Well, I
Right.
love that. So what do you say? Oh no, okay, no, you owe me £100.
So basically, we haven't had it. If you don't go through with the booking, then obviously then we need to charge.
It's chargeable.
Because
Yeah.
it's a day, it's a day of my time,
People,
and then I've got
it's not just that couple of hours.
No, and then
it's
we've got
cooking.
all of the food and everything else.
And then
that
you're
goes on
stopping
with
other
it.
people coming in and doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So we've just had a few messages from people that is it right to be charging for food tasting at the venues that they've booked?
Yeah.
So they've already booked and paid for it.
Got ya.
People have hair and makeup trials, so why
Yeah.
not?
I suppose, yeah.
But I think the
Happy
thing
dress
that
rehearsal.
Well, no, because the makeup artists that we do, that's all included, unless they don't book.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that shocks people when they come to us is that it's just them. It's there's the 4 people around the table.
Yeah.
There's lots of venues where you'll go and it's a bit like speed dating. Where
Yeah.
you'll go
Yeah,
and you'll
there's
sit,
other
you'll taste
people.
that bit, then
Yeah.
you go taste that bit.
And also, you're listening to what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's just having an influence on what you do. So there's
Yeah,
no
you-
noise. And we say that in the boutique. Bring
Yeah.
the minimum amount
Yeah,
of people.
so that you
Bring
haven't got
one
that.
person and that. And is it important who to bring with you?
Well,
Ideally, who you're marrying.
yeah, who you're marrying,
Yeah.
and 9 times out of 10, it's who's paying. Because they
have like mum and dad sat there
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes if that is still the sort of the way that it's going, they want to know quite rightly where their money's going and making
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
it's going to give use.
What personal touches do you bring
What, to the menus?
Yeah.
Um,
that nobody else does?
well, the fact that I am there from that first email
Right.
to serving your evening food,
Yeah.
Okay.
through every aspect of that, the tasting.
So you've got to know the couple from the get go.
Exactly that. And
And you're
again, we did a wedding tasting, and then I don't think we saw the person that did the tasting for the whole of the wedding on our wedding day. Whereas I am personally there all the way through.
Yeah.
So if there's any hiccups on the morning or anything like that, I know what the bride and groom what their spec of everything is.
Yeah.
And sometimes that actually takes away needing a wedding planner to come in.
Oh, you're
to
going to get
come
that
in-
hate.
to come in,
Yeah.
and because ultimately we're doing a lot of those aspects.
Yeah.
Emma's running around with a clipboard making sure all the timing's going on and all those sorts
Yeah.
of things. When you start getting to numbers of
But this is-
200 people
Yeah.
plus,
Yeah.
I would say working with a wedding planner is always a good thing.
Yeah,
because
and
it
a
means,
coordinator.
because it takes away the pressure of
Upside down.
everybody having to try and do the same job.
And we hear that suppliers clash
yeah, definitely.
and fights
yeah.
and stuff like that, and it's not about the couple, it's about them.
Yeah.
And it's awful. So getting the right suppliers that are all gonna
work
collab together
yeah.
and
I think after you've worked with people a couple of times, you sort of get that feeling, whether you're going to work well together or it just doesn't happen again.
yeah,
sort of
it's
thing.
just stay in your lane.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly that.
Just
Yeah,
get on
yeah.
with your job that you
Yeah.
paid for and just not interfering
Yeah,
with mine and stuff like
Treading on
that.
toes.
What challenges do you come against?
In terms of the menu sort of design or just the whole catering?
Just
sort of
everything, yeah.
Um,
Are there any things that you haven't been able to do, or things that you've had to solve, or
Costings now
Right.
are probably our biggest.
I suppose
thing.
when you're meeting couples that the market is at here,
Yeah, and
and then a year later the market.
we're quoting for 2027.
We've done
Yeah.
it. We've got a 28 wedding.
Yeah, so you're picking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you're
That's
picking a number out of the air, but it feels a little bit like that.
Yeah.
In that, I don't know what the price of lamb's going to be
Yeah.
in 3 years' time,
thing, isn't
and
it?
recently it's just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So it's probably my biggest biggest challenge is trying to say yes, we can do it,
Yeah.
or this is what I think we can do,
Yeah.
with not knowing what's going to happen.
Because you could end up from what you've quoted, like just breaking even if that.
Yeah, exactly.
In 3 years' time.
Yeah, for
could
all that
skyrocket.
work.
But you
yeah.
still do the wedding.
Still do the wedding.
Yeah, I know.
of course we would.
I know.
Sorry, my calculations went wrong.
Yeah, I know
You
you
went out of
would.
pocket, but
And I
you're
think
still gonna turn up.
your background
Yeah.
is ethos to that, because
Yeah.
and that's important to every couple
Yeah.
out there, is knowing that person's going to step up no matter what,
Yeah.
no matter what's going on in their life, or what the market's doing.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
just got to get on with
like
it.
that,
And it's and I think when I first started doing the sort of event catering and bits and pieces, it was weddings was never where I wanted to be.
Really?
Because the anxiety of only having that one shot,
Yeah.
of doing their people's weddings day. So it was only after building up the sort of the garden party sort of style weddings that you sort of you gain confidence, and then you get a good team around you and all those sorts of things. So,
I can do that.
I've talked about that you are an overfeeder.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm an overfeeder.
I'm an overeater normally.
I know this is killing you. So just take one and like lick
Just
it.
take the top off.
What do you do? What happens with the leftovers?
So although we were described as overfeeders, we're pretty good with the sort of the portion control. And by the time that the food's gone out and then my guys have then eaten, so there's normally 12, 15 extra people behind the scenes just from our sort of sides. So by the time that we've broken the kitchen down... Are you feeding
suppliers as well?
Yeah, feeding suppliers.
Perfect.
Yeah. And, the dietary requirements that come with that sometimes can be a completely different ball game to what's going on.
Controversial now. Are you charging extra for the suppliers?
We charge £15 a head for the suppliers.
Oh, that's actually really, really good.
Yeah, but it's only because normally, it's a case of plating them a meal, finding them some space if there is no green room or something like that, and then just making sure they're
I still think that's really, really good.
And then, so if it's the evening cheese and things like that that's been left out, the guys always wrap it up and leave it. But a lot of the time we've broken the kitchen down, so there's no refrigeration on site and things like that. So to be leaving food just out and hoping it's going to get taken, sometimes it's a bit risky. So by the time that the guys have sort of cleared up and sorted it out, we're pretty good with our portion controls.
Fine, fantastic. So there's not really
not much left.
And I think that's really important to a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So we always try and, whatever the numbers are, we always try and say 10% more.
Yeah,
plus
we say that
staff.
on budgets as well. Yeah. Always add 10%. It's same as building works and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it just means that we've got a little bit of leeway if you turn out that the top table are super hungry and want thirds rather than just seconds. So we're not running out. So.
We've got a game. Where's our game? Game. Oh look, Christopher is bringing our game. We have problems with our little TV behind. I don't know whether you've noticed.
I did.
It's broken, I guess. Yeah. Right, have you seen this?
No, I've seen a bit of it.
Right, give it a spin. Gossip.
In terms of?
What have you seen?
Anything that's stuck
you can leave out names.
Funny story, drama, scandal.
So we've had it where the best man and the maid of honour were a couple, and we did the Canapé reception, and then by the time we got down to the meal, they'd had a Barney, and they basically had left. So there was 2 seats next to the bride and groom at the table.
Oh no!
Yeah. So we actually
they try and keep it
together.
together.
So they basically so they disappeared. So we
breaking point. Weddings are breaking points for a lot of couples. I remember my wedding photo, and I look at it now and I think they're not together. They're not together. A lot of people broke up afterwards, and I
think, God, she's done it for the third time. Let's go.
There's no hope for me, But I think when if you've been together a long time and you're like, right, this is what I want, and then the guys saying, well, no, actually this is not.
So we basically, as people were sitting down, just had to break away the chairs and move them.
Do it really quietly.
Yeah,
well done. Anything else?
No, I don't think I'm very.
That was a good one.
I don't think we've had that much gossipy sort of stories.
You need to try harder.
I'm always back at house, so I don't get to see that much as going on.
Well,
and I'm sure some of the things they're not going to come in and tell me.
When we get you on for the cocktails, I want 5. Okay, so start looking. Spin it again. Would you rather, if you weren't doing this, what would you do?
Oh, good question. I don't know if I've got an answer to that. I think at the moment I'm still just really happy doing.
You're loving it,
it's always been food. And in the off season of the weddings, we sort of do location catering and things like that. So it actually means that there's a bit of variety still of what we do. So,
no day is the same.
No day's the same. No menu's the same, which means that no day's the same. So I think at the moment,
Question: do you always cook the Christmas dinner?
And if you do,
you enjoy cooking a roast?
Some
people love it.
I used to hate eating a roast because I'd worked in that environment for so long.
The problem is when you're cooking, you're picking as well.
The smell of like roast potatoes and things like that just used to set me off. Whereas now, because I hadn't been in that environment for a while, for the last 3 years I've cooked the roast dinner.
Oh my God.
And I have enjoyed it, but also we've got quite a big family, but we've got the infrastructure at work to bring a tabletop oven and and we turn it into a bit of a canapé party.
Love it.
I love that.
It makes it a bit easier than trying to do it in a...
I have very controversially, curries at wedding.
Curries at wedding.
Yeah, because you literally it was a Sri Lankan curry.
Yeah,
Oh my God! I literally took one mouthful and it just melted. It was beautiful.
But for evening food, that works really well, like the sort of like the bowl food options. But yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the traditional stuff. It can
Not at all, definitely not.
I think that works with different culture families as well.
Yeah, we've just been asked this week to quote for a wedding next year where they want brunch. So they want eggs Benedict followed by French toast.
It's what you wanted when we went to Harrogate. They gave you full English, so they didn't have it. And I went,
eggs Benedict.
Yeah, eggs Benedict.
So we do questions from the public.
Okay.
So let's do a couple of questions. You can pick one. There you go. You can pick one. These get messaged in. These get sent into the shop if they're right in there, the guests, and they email in as well. Oh, what have I got?
You look like you've got a short story.
Oh, I've got a short story, but it's quite a good thing because it's one thing that when I'm talking to a couple, it's a bit of advice that I always give them.
Oh, okay. You start with.
Shall I go with
then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says, Mum wanted to do the seating plan, but we said no. So we snuck in, and she snuck in, even swapped my dad off the top table and her new boyfriend. We were all too polite to argue with her in fear that she would kick off. We've not spoken to her since.
Wait, hang on.
So I think the mum went in and changed the seating plan.
No.
And took the dad off and put the new boyfriend on.
So she took the dad off?
Yeah, put the new boyfriend on the top table.
Her new boyfriend?
Yeah. No. So we were all too polite to argue with her in fear she would kick off, and they haven't spoken to her since.
Oh.
So after choosing the menu, I think the seating plan is possibly one of the hardest things.
Yeah,
to not have
actually, we've had a bride in
influences.
this week, and somebody said that they're not going to sit next to so and so.
Yeah.
And she said, "I've spent." Oh no, that was another story. Alex, that was in last week. She said the seating plan was the most thing. Then people not come. You're saying they can't come in.
Is
the
that
end.
mainly because of people not getting on? That's why it's
or external influences like parents thinking that those people should be sat on that table closer to the top table.
Again.
Family influences sort of really do.
And these top tables can cause a huge.
Yeah,
and I think my advice for anybody going through that is to have a sweetheart table. So
Yeah,
bride and groom, or people that are getting married on their own.
Yeah,
and I think that's lovely because they can watch everybody then. Don't have it's hierarchy.
Yeah, or even in the middle of the banqueting tables, you don't have to be right in the middle. Or, you put yourselves at the top so that you're sort of out of there.
Yeah. I like the weddings that don't have any seating plans. Especially if you're having grazing tables. So literally go get your food and sit anywhere. And I think that's really nice. What have you got?
Okay. Should you stand when the bride enters? I think I've stood for every bride.
Yeah, I think tradition has it that the mum starts the standing. The mum stands first.
Oh, is it?
And that sets everybody else up.
Did you know when the mum takes the hat off, that's when you can take your hat off?
Yes. So do tell your mum, because if people are...
We had someone whose mum had no intention of taking their hat off, and we were just like, oh.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, people don't know the tradition, or people know the tradition, and they're sitting there watching, waiting for the hat. Yeah, it's the etiquette, isn't it? Yeah, no, you should stand.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's really, really nice. And actually then, because if you're sat down and the couple are walking up the aisle, as the person that's given away, you're looking up. Yeah. It's a really awkward photo, isn't it? So if you're at eye level, then that photograph is lovely. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Okay.
Can I put magnet on my dress to keep my veil in place? Yes.
We've been talking about this. We still need to test it, don't we?
No, I've tested it. It does work.
Okay, don't know about me.
Well, out the back.
We've been
in your own time.
We haven't had to do it.
But these magnets sound really good. I'd love to have seen one, but there we go.
We'll do it on the show.
So you can play with magnets.
Yes, it does work. So you can get the little magnets. In fact, we didn't have time at the trade show to find these people, but they were at the show. But you can get the magnets that will sit from the dress, and then you can get little pearl ones, and it will just stop the veil going that way and the dress going that way. So it just keeps it together. Brilliant. Because your bridesmaids or whoever are setting out your train will go ahead of you, and you'll be the last people up the aisle. And the
amount of brides I've had come back and say, when I got to the end of the aisle, none of my bridesmaids were doing my train.
No, they didn't do mine either.
Yeah,
they're in the industry.
What's wrong with people? Yeah, see, it's because I weren't there. I'd have been straight up.
Yeah, show me Nick. We get rid of it the weekend, fluffed it up. Yeah. We'll do a fluffing section.
Lovely.
We'll do it. I have got loads of questions. What's your best advice to anybody choosing catering?
Go with your heart. I know it's a bit cliche, but it is one of those things, you know, if you...
Or your gut.
Yeah, or your gut. Yeah, exactly that. Well, after the tasting, you might have to... But it is one of those things if you don't get a good vibe off the person you're initially speaking to, I think that really goes a long way. Yeah, trust your instincts.
Bit like dating.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
ultimately you're going to be spending a lot of time, you know, communicating, going back and forth, and you need to also have a sort of trust that what's going on is going to happen on the day.
I had a bride about 4 weeks ago. The catering company went bust. You know, and I think they were doing the ding meals.
Yeah, oh really?
You know, by the sounds of it, you know.
The ding meals,
what do they call them?
Packet openers.
Packet openers, I love that. But I think I think that's what's refreshing about you, you know. It's your background.
Yeah.
You know, you have trained for this. Yeah. You haven't decided, actually, I've been to a wedding, I could do better than this. And it's
my business. Ultimately, if I don't put the effort in to make it, you know, continue to succeed.
Yeah, you live and breathe it.
I know you do. It's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
My husband's going to be very upset that there wasn't curry tonight. Because do you remember him coming round? So I disappeared. So I took 2 mouthfuls and I was like, oh my God, this guy's talented. And I didn't know that you were Caroline's nephew. And I literally went round the corner and I went, do you do weddings? You're like, yeah, random woman. You didn't know who I was either, because it was that week I came up there. And the next minute, John's coming around the corner with Steve, our neighbour, and they went, we knew it! You'd been recruited for the podcast. And I was like, and then they came around and went, oh my God, look at it, you know.
What type of curry was it? I'm so invested in this now.
It was delicious. Even if you don't like curry, I think you would love this.
You know, like when curries don't need to be spicy, they're just really, really sort of levels of flavour again.
Yeah.
And that prawn curry. I wish you could have heard everybody as they were eating, because the noise level was up here, and then suddenly, you know, your girls came round with them. They were really smart, by the way, and literally just, you know, had them on the trays and everything, and then the noise level went down, and all you could hear was
So Emma, who was there, pretty much runs my front of house.
Right.
And she was going to come today, but she's broken her foot.
Yeah, you tripped her over. So we're rounding up now. Where can we find you?
So we're on the normal socials. In the kitchen. On Instagram, Facebook, and we've got the website at www.cuttingedgefeedlimited.com.
Perfect. You're on Instagram as well.
Yeah, same handles.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Amazing.
Look, honestly, that was so informative.
Well, thank you very much.
And I think that really, really, really helps everybody. You know, you want curry now, don't you? Should have bought curry, Chris. Do you know what I mean? You know.
We can microwave it and heat it up.
Dig. He's pointing his finger at me. What you do us a huge favour and look into that camera and ask everybody to follow you, and if they've got any advice or questions or anything like that, you know, that they can DM you too. So look into this camera and ask everybody to follow you and us.
Hi guys, thank you very much for having me today. Please give everybody a follow, Wedding Mayhem and myself at Cutting Edge Feed Limited.
Yay! And we'll see you all next week. I'm hurrying up because I want to eat more food. Thank you for following us. Thank you for all the likes and everything that you're doing. It really does mean the world to us. You're absolutely brilliant. And keep those DMs coming in with all those questions and stories. We'll see you all next week. Bye.